Hey everybody, welcome to a demo that I recorded. So if you're not aware, I've been participating in the Doomed Index, which is more or less I guess it's kind of a competition, but I'm not really seeing it as one. I'm just kind of doing it for fun. But you basically do single segment recordings of a particular level, and you get points for it. And you just rack up as many points as you can. It's pretty great. Go check them out. But anywho, this is one of the veteran tier maps. This is Death in Excess Map 1 by no reason. And I actually managed to do a successful clear of this on stream. And this is the resulting demo. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start off with a fight here. There's two Archviles on either side and a cyberdemon. Kind of close quarters. What I'm doing here, I'm just taking out the Archviles fairly quickly. The reason I took that one out with a pistol, so with Archviles, you can kill them in as few as 3 rockets and as many as 6. I think 6, 5, 6, somewhere thereabout. But with these ones, I prefer to use 4 rockets apiece. That way I have some rockets left over for a future fight. So with that dude, he didn't go down after the 4th one, so I finished him off with a pistol. Now, the next step is 2-tapping the Cyberdemon. I didn't do it while I was in the pit. These demos aren't really about speed, and this is actually quite a slow run. But, so there's 1, pretty good shot. 2, also a pretty good shot. I would generally reset if either I shot the Cyberdemon with a rocket or failed the 2-tap. I mean, there's no point in continuing that. This is a melee-focused area. So here, there's 2 Hell Knights that'll spawn in that pad. I'm just kind of killing them before they have a chance to move. That way I don't have to face both of them at once. Took a hit there. Kind of a big one, but could be worse. So this one, what I do is I hit the switch, take a step back. That blocks one of the spawners. That one right there. Watch out for the pain state, because they will wreck you. Didn't take any damage there. I'm going to do something similar in this section here. There's actually 3 things that spawn. Hold on. Oh, damn. There we go. But you've got a Hell Knight here, Revenant here. Let's go back in here and continue. So what I do is I block the second Hell Knight, and then wait for that guy to hit the Revenant. That way those 2 are distracted. Spawn the other one in, start doing damage. If I recall correctly, this is a pretty messy fight. No, actually not too bad. Not too bad. That one can get messy. Got 3 Barons to fight. We use the extra rockets to deal as much damage as possible. I would have preferred it if that first one were in a better position. But, could have been worse. Stupid scratch. Thankfully it was a low damage roll. Not that it matters. I get a Mega Sphere at the beginning of the next fight anyway. What that switch does is it actually lets you get out. Blue key spawned. There we go. 2 keys. We need all 3 to get to the next major section. So with this fight... Okay, screen. Calm down. There we go. With this fight, you've got this middle section here. There are crushers in the ceiling that will come down after you get the yellow key. There are also arachnotrons that will spawn around the room. You have a chain gun, as you can see, with 237 bullets. 240 if you don't have to kill Archviles with it. And arachnotrons will spawn around the room, and the goal is to lure them into the crushers. So what I do is I save my ammo, use them to either stop them from firing or force them to reposition. It's a good start. Now I block one of the spawners here, let those guys kind of get into position. And really, this is basically like herding cats. These guys really like to go around the outer edges of the room, which is not very effective, we'll put it that way. There we go. That was actually pretty clean. 3 down in one go. Now this is one fight. This guy just didn't cooperate, so I finished him off with the chain gun. Because these guys also have such a thick hitbox that if they do go a little bit too close to the outer area of the room, they can block you. But generally, this isn't too bad of a fight. Just kind of a minor annoyance. And these are the last two. I just finished this guy off with a chain gun because I just wasn't dealing with that. So next step, we're going to go ahead and hit the switches so we can get to the next section. I go to the left fight first. This one involves killing a row of archviles as well as a bunch of imps and demons. So grab the ammo and the rockets, and then we pre-fire here. Hit the switch. Dump the rest of our BFG ammo. That was not a whole lot of tracer coverage. This is actually a pretty messy here. Like, most of the time I can do this fight without taking damage. Not this time. That's okay. Kind of kill the demons. We want to be a little careful around this corner because we want to keep firing rockets to keep pushing them back. But we don't want to deal too much face rocket damage. If you don't take damage during the archvile phase, you could generally be a little bit more aggressive, but yeah, I was a little cautious. So these guys will spawn in forever and ever and ever. The spawners are a bit on the slow side. There's a total, like, by the time you finish this, technically you should have 149 kills, which we do here, but a lot of times you will have to double back and clean this area up. So now we go into the next area, which is a bit more of a conventional fight. We've got 4 cyberdemons and a whole lot of other, was it barons and revenants? So we hit the switch to activate the fight. Thankfully this guy fired early. Sometimes, it's kind of like, I would say 75% of the time he does fire pretty reliably, but sometimes he's just very stubborn. You have to actually lure projectiles into him. Clean up this area a little bit because you want to have a safe place to run if things get really hairy. Now this was a little bit unusual. Normally when because I've done 333 attempts on this. Pretty small in the grand scheme of things, I guess, but I don't think I've ever had an attempt where all 3 cyberdemons were over here this early in the fight, which actually does cause a little bit of, let's say, stress. Because these guys tend to get bored very quickly and will turn and shoot you. So my objective right now is to kind of get away from this utter madness here. So what I want to happen, health is low, let's grab the mega. What I want to happen is for that tunnel to clear out somewhat, that way I could run to the other side. Which, I think I'm going to attempt to do that here. Yep, there we go. A little bit of juking. I'm kind of looking for that other cyberdemon, which I think we just passed his corpse. Yeah, we did. Couldn't really see that while recording it. And then, basically, we wait for our co-op partners to do as much of the dirty work as they possibly can. One of them just fell down. Let's see how things are going over in the other side. So things are kind of boring on our end. So there's the 2 cybies. That's right, I think this is the attempt where the 2 cyberdemons actually survived for quite a while, just because they were clustered up over there. This is the perspective I didn't get to see before. There we go. And that's the only remaining Baron. I remember being really surprised, because normally, at the end of this fight, there's not 2 cyberdemons alive. Thankfully, they're both very, very badly injured, so I'm able to take them out with 1 BFG shot. Not even a particularly clean one, either. Alright, so we have 369 kills. If you're doing this, this is how many kills you want to get by the time you get to this point, because there's no going back after you go into this teleporter. Now, this section, I more or less just completely ripped off J4C's strat for this. And did I do it right this time? Well, you'll see. So, go through the teleporter. You want to pre-fire the BFG right here. Go in. You'll see... Ah, damn. Yeah. Okay. I was kind of hoping the teleporter fog would go away faster, but it didn't. But you'll see 2 revenants in the corner there, as well as a chain gunner. The strat is to shoot the right revenant, and that way it's pretty much a guaranteed kill with the ball and tracer damage. And if your angle is right, you will not wake up this one. Then you could very casually just kind of take him out with rockets. I believe, yeah, I think from the look of it, I aimed too far to the right. Missed him with the ball. However, fortunately, I got lucky and didn't... I did not actually wake him up with that. Because one idle frame, you could wake him up. One idle frame, you can't. It's kind of a 50-50 thing. As for the other one, he did end up getting a shot off. One thing you want to do if you see that happen, just lean into it. Because if you... well, especially if it's guided. Which I don't think this one was. Let's check. It wasn't, so I didn't technically have to take that. But if it's guided, I actually saw this happen during one of J4C's attempts. He was getting circled by a guided projectile. It hit him at an unexpected angle, threw him into the lava. Which, as you can tell, is not very good for your survival. Because this is all 20 damaging floor. So, I kind of lean forward a little bit and take the blast. Switch to the BFG. Hop over here. Wait a second to take out the Archvile. If you do, the Hell Knight will teleport in and take the Tracers. Got 2 Chain Gunners. I fired early. So, bad shot for that one. That worked. If you time it right, you can get it while they're spawning, and that just looks cool. But I didn't get it this time. So one thing, if you do fall in the lava, the switch over here can be pressed from down below. You will take a lot of damage, but it's not necessarily a run killer. When the Chain Gunners spawn, this lift will come up. So if that does end up happening, you'll want to hit this, BFG the Archvile, and then book it over here. It's going to be a bit of a pain in the ass to take out the remaining enemies, but you could end up salvaging the run that way. But go ahead and activate the lift. I think you basically have to take 2 ticks of damage, which kind of sucks. Anyway, go in the teleporter. And now we've got a bit of a pickle. We've got 4 cyberdemons. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. A whole bunch of revenants all around the ledge, on these ledges here. And we've also got these Hell Knights in the corner. So my general thought, and this also goes out to people who think I don't infight enough, the strat that I'm using is to basically just work the cyberdemons as hard as possible. Sorry, co-op partners. Not firing a shot because I really don't want those Hell Knights to spill into the main section. Now, this is kind of like alternating between standing still and running full tilt. Because really, you don't want to turn around a corner only to run face first into a rocket. That's not a pleasant experience. So we see a cluster of dudes over there, so we go around it. Pretty much just kind of making decisions based on what's in front of us. I know that sounds obvious, but in a lot of situations like this, it is very easy and even tempting to overcommit to something that might not necessarily be a good idea. But if you'll notice when I'm going around the bend, I kind of go at like a 30 to 45 degree... Yeah, I noped out of that one. You kind of go at a 30 to 45 degree angle because I want to be able to see what's to my left or right, depending on which direction I'm going, as well as the middle of the arena. I should not have eaten that, but oh well. The green Jolly Ranchers are just too tasty to resist. There we go. Just kind of continue on this way. This actually is a bit unusual because by this point in the fight, in my experience, there's more Revenants dead than Hell Knights, but this kind of seems to be very much the opposite of typical. There is 1 Megasphere also, right there. I just passed it up. So be mindful of that if your health gets too low. My general thought process on this fight is I want to be able to survive like a Revenant missile and some change. So I don't, excuse me, I don't go for the Mega unless I'm at like 50 or below. And I think right about now is probably when I wake up the room. Mostly because I want to just deal with the cyberdemons as well as... Yeah, there we go. And I actually accidentally picked up the Mega, but the timing was pretty alright. That was a bad shot. This is another reason why I kind of like to save rockets for... Or save rockets in the previous, not the previous fight, the fight before the previous fight, is because what I'll do is I will BFG the groups and then rocket down everyone else, because getting cells is a bit of an issue throughout the rest of this arena. They're all in kind of inconvenient spots, and you need to be somewhat economical. I mean, there's plenty there. Like, you will finish this with ammo to spare. But, yeah, you want to be a little careful. It's also kind of good to have bullets in here, just in case your rocket supply is low. Yeah, just go around the arena. We're not speedrunning. There's no point in just taking risks and taking extra damage. Yeah, we'll save the fancy stuff for the Encaligons and Foreshocks of the world. So 585 kills. That's the room complete. We want to go to the switch with the red sides first. And this is going to seem a little bit strange. I mean, the Barons, probably not the best idea to target them. Those first shots were a bit excessive. It seems a bit weird in a fight like this to deal this much damage to the Cyberdemons, but I have never seen the Cyberdemons... Sorry, I've never seen the normal enemies outlast the Cyberdemons in this fight. You always end up with spare Cybes, so softening them up a little bit is the best approach. I will use BFG cells until I have about 80, 120, somewhere thereabout. I want to have a little bit just in case. Yeah, I saw that one closing in, so I turned around carefully. But yeah, you want to have a couple just in case you end up in a major pants-shitting situation, but you do want to use most of it, in my experience, because otherwise you end up with just a bit too much. One of the things that's kind of nice, too, if you soften up the Cybes, is it also gets their focus entirely on you. And so if you run around to the other side of the arena, they're going to do a lot of damage to those Barons. And they won't retaliate against them, as an added bonus. Not immediately, anyway. So as you can see, they did a pretty damn good job of clearing this area out. However, because we did soften them up, we are not completely inundated with these guys. So now the next step is to kind of circle the arena and then attempt to make a push into the center for cells while avoiding all those megaspheres. Because as you can see, our health is pretty stable right now. This is probably the best run I ever had of this fight, and I absolutely did not want to waste any of that health. So now we have some cells. We want to start to clear some of these dudes out. Again, being very mindful to stay wide and avoid the McGees. Also timing our shots so that we can make the most of our tracers. Not always the easiest thing to do, especially if there's a lot of these guys left. It's also kind of tough to get too close, so we want to be a little mindful of, well, not taking a rock to the face. That's never fun. We had another opportunity, so we swung in, got 420. That's enough to finish the fight. That's enough to blaze him, if you will. I'm sorry. I think I do accidentally grab a Mega here, which is a little bit unfortunate. Maybe not. Maybe not. Either way, regardless of what your health is, unless it is, in fact, 200-200, you do want to start the next fight with 200-200 because they kind of play a nice game of keep away when it comes to the resources. You'll see. So, now we got that done. 793 kills. We are golden. We go to the gray switch. Pre-fire the BFG twice towards that back wall. And hit the switch. Try to kill at least one Archvile. No guarantees. And now just deal with the chaos and take a absolute metric ton of damage because I kind of just did that aimlessly, but it worked. Those armor pickups are stacked to 25. There's also some backup green armor in the arena if you need it, but I came into this with so much health that I was able to kind of afford to take risks to some degree. That was an unfortunate zap, but thankfully that could have been really badly right there. Because that one Archvile was in mid-zap, and if he didn't die, I would have ended up getting just completely pwned there. Alright, so right now that the edges are clear and everything's in the center, it's more or less just running around and then just picking off archviles where possible. In this situation, I think I was actually fortunate enough for them to more or less just get taken out by friendly fire. Yeah, because there's, let's do a quick pause and take a quick look, because obviously view that I couldn't see before. Yeah, there are no archviles left. Weird. Yeah, normally whenever I would get to this point, I would have to, like especially during practice, obviously, I would have to do a little bit more archvile cleanup. Oh, man, what a shot. Alright, cool. Anyway, moving on. So there was a lot of, this was a very lucky run in a lot of ways. There were a few spots in this section of the fight where I probably should have died, but I didn't. Ow, that hurt. So, that's probably why I ended up getting a max damage roll right there. That's fine. So, anyway, we just kind of let things take care of themselves. I wanted to keep as many cells as possible for the final fight in case things went squirrely, so I just sort of observed. My thing is I wanted either all the cyberdemons dead or all the normal enemies dead before I did anything. There's another cyber down. In this case, the cyberdemons lost the war. You can just hear them going down one after another. And so right about now, I just decided to help out my co-op partners and just sort of launch some rockets, since we've got a ton of them. Yeah, that was pretty much my main thing. Even if the cyberdemons survived, I think I still would have taken them out with rockets, just because I was a bit... By this point, I'm a little bit paranoid about the number of cells. This time around, I did so much infighting that I've got plenty, but still. It's one of those things where when I get to that end part, and you'll understand why very soon, I just want to just make sure that I don't have to go too far to resupply. And I want to know that no matter where I go, I can resupply. So we got the fight done. 1381. And this was me doing breathing exercises, making sure my health was completely full. And now we are on to the final part of the fight. What I wanted to do here was explicitly take from the cells that I didn't grab from. So you can see there's all 6 available there. But I did want to make sure I was maxed out. So when I hit the switch, the 2 walls on either side of the exit gate will open. Like right there, right there. There's no point in pre-firing because the walls lower slowly enough that it won't matter. And in each of these closets is a bit of this. So 4 archviles and, what would that be, 12 revenants? And these are both the same. The goal, of course, is to hit these 2 switches. 1 in each closet, which opens up the exit. So, yeah, what you do, hit the switch. That was kind of a bad shot, but you unload your BFG here. At least the tracers will still do something. And you want to clear that out, preferably without damage. This one was... You can tank a few zaps. And there we go. That's GG. Now, one thing that happened to me in my closest attempt up to this point, these 4 archviles all spilled out and simultaneously zapped me. Yeah, if that happens, there's really not a whole lot you can do unless you immediately get behind cover, which I didn't do, so, oops. But yeah, basically you're on your victory lap right now. I was pretty much screaming at this point. Rip eardrums to anyone who was in the stream at the time. And you open up the exit, you wander into the portal, and step onto the exit, and there it is. That's a UV max of Death in Excess Map 1, Divergence. So this was definitely the hardest thing I've ever single segmented, and yeah, I'm glad it happened. Really, really glad it happened. And thanks to everyone who was in stream that day. That was, I don't know if I could have done it without you guys, honestly, because it was probably the calmest I was throughout this fight. So, cool. Good stuff. But anyway, that's all for now. If I do any more fancy Doomed Index stuff, I'll, you know, post it just like this one. I'm not going to post like the fair weather stuff because that's kind of, I mean, those maps are generally pretty easy, but definitely the harder stuff. Yeah, you'll be seeing commented demos of those. But anyway, that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.